Okay lang sa attendance, Umiya, Consignado, Del Mundo, Gilmo,
Present po.
Jubit, Riesa, Mendoza, Miares, Roncilia, Navarro, Placido, Pasha, Solomon, Vega. Okay, before we have our lab, we need to catch up with some of our lecture. So for the first half, we will have our lecture, and then for the remaining second half, I will discuss what we will do in your laboratory. So for your laboratory experiment number 4, the due date is actually until next week. So you will not be able to complete today. That will be part of your assignment later. And then since we have limited remaining time, we only have the next Saturday because Friday is holiday. Our remaining lecture time. We will have our GT2 next Saturday. So the coverage of GT2 will be only objective part lang, mula module 2 hanggang module 3. Yung lahat ng matatapos natin ng module 3 today. Kung hindi matatapos, then hindi natin sasama. May naiwan tayong few items sa module 2. Yung problem solving, pag hindi na nilabot ng time next week, just review on your own yung mga problem solving dito yung GT. May video naman ako how to solve that. And then, isa sa review natin ay itong power semiconductor devices. I think dito. This one. Let's begin with this video.
It's amazing when you think about it that semiconductors are used virtually everywhere in today's tech. In your mobile phones, your laptops, your PS5, cars, satellites, aircraft, pacemakers. They are the invisible building blocks that both drive and shape much of our living reality today. The Hubble semiconductor has changed the way we live. So what exactly are semiconductors? Semiconductors are essentially the in-betweens of insulators and conductors and have a unique physical property relative to whether it allows or doesn't allow electricity to go through. Computers take in and send off data in the form of binary electronic signals existing as either 1 or 0. And in a highly simplified fashion, that's how data is essentially exchanged in a complex device such as a computer.
So semiconductors are an essential component of today's electronic device, enabling advances in communications, computing, healthcare, transportation, military defense, clean energy, and countless new applications across industries.
Semiconductors have traditionally been made using a base material such as silicon, which is pretty impressive considering that it's just sand. Impurities are added to the element in a process called doping. And what kind and how much of that impurities is added gives the semiconductors its properties of conductance.
Semiconductors often is referred to as integrated circuits or ICs or microchips, which are made from either pure elements such as silicon, germanium, or from compounds such as traditionally gallium arsenide or modern day gallium nitride and silicon carbide for different applications.
这个不是经常会有的这个把处理这才产出的。
Now, we've been so successful in miniaturizing such chips. Chips began to be miniaturized at such a steady rate, it was as if the technology was following a law. First started about 50 years ago by Gordon Moore, co-founder of microchip giant Intel.
So I took a wild extrapolation and said we're going to continue doubling every year. We're going to go from about 60 elements now to 60,000 in 10 years.
Moore's law predicted that the number of transistors that you could fit on a chip would double every 2 years. And that's why our phones devices are getting smaller and more powerful as we are able to squeeze more transistors into a chip using nanoscale manufacturing capabilities and sheer atomic precision. Apple's latest A13 Bionic has 8.5 billion of them, and it can all fit onto your fingernail. Only now, when attempts to shrink transistors any smaller are bumping up against the laws of physics or quantum. Ever got your phone or laptop overheating? That's one of the main drawbacks of trying to fit just too much power into something so compact. So if you wish to build something more powerful, more compact phones, more powerful laptops, we'll need to find a material that can handle high voltage, high current, and high temperature all in a tiny footprint. And that's where silicon carbide and gallium nitride come in.
Silicon carbide and gallium nitride belong to the recently debuted wide bandgap technology, focusing by leading semiconductor industry from beyond 5G communication, electric vehicles, renewable energy, and Industry 4.0. Amid increasingly serious environmental protection issues caused by global warming and carbon emissions, various industries are developing in the direction of energy saving and carbon reduction. This requires replacing petrochemical energies with green ones and adopting power-saving practices forward, as well as pursuing higher energy efficiency and lower energy consumption in daily life. As a result, current semiconductor materials is too close to its physical limits to raise power, to reduce heat loss and to increase speed, and a need to give away to those with much better electron transmission efficiency and lower energy consumption. This makes silicon carbide and gallium nitride wide bandgap semiconductors featuring higher energy efficiency and lower energy consumption the second to none choice as next generation solutions.
This is definitively everything which is linked to compound semiconductor wide bandgap, because you don't go for 12 compound semiconductor versus pure silicon one, because this is more difficult to process, this is more difficult to get the right yield. But when you need the performance, this is definitely where you have to go. And we see that in high frequency RF products, we see that in integrated photonics, and we see that in power conversion efficiencies.
The market for wide bandgap semiconductors is going to sort of shoot to the roof over the course of the next 5 to 10 years. For like silicon carbide, for instance, we expect that $1 billion market today will grow at a CAGR of about 37% to about $3.3 billion just in the next 3 years. A lot of this is being driven by climate change, which drives the adoption for green technologies, mostly EVs and renewables, which both require sort of energy storage, right? And the common thread tied to both is basically improving battery efficiencies.
Silicon carbide is a compound of silicon and carbon, and all the limitations of using traditional silicon materials, such as heat loss, low energy conversion efficiency, is overcome with silicon carbide. Now, silicon carbide has a wider band gap than silicon, which basically measures how easy it is for energy to pass through the material. Effectively, this special property makes silicon carbide more suitable for operating at high temperatures, voltages, and frequencies. Since it's better at all levels, why hasn't it been adopted widely? Cost. Silicon carbide is more expensive than silicon, and previously its benefits didn't quite make sense without a suitable use case of its value. So we needed a relatively expensive new tech that required the benefits that silicon carbide will bring. And in came a rush in demand for electric vehicles which changed everything.
Best selling electric vehicle of all time.
In 2017, Tesla used silicon carbide inverters which converts DC to AC and powers the car. And since then, we've seen a sharp increase in interest in silicon carbide from virtually every automaker. Electric vehicles was the killer application for silicon carbide that would ultimately provide a use case. It provides up to 60% of the silicon carbide market today and might be the tech that will bring silicon carbide into wider applications. With silicon carbide, electric cars gain up to 15% greater range because they convert energy more efficiently.
The cost of battery materials has dropped to the roof over the course of the last 3 or 4 years as well. All of which basically is driving great demand for power electronics, which are semiconductor chips that improve battery performance.
Now for silicon carbide, its cost-performance ratio is attractive at higher voltages. Hence, electric vehicles markets with its large battery requirements are a natural fit due to its higher cost. But for devices such as smartphones, which still require high power, but are relatively lower compared to electric vehicles, that's where gallium nitride comes in with its lower cost to performance ratio compared to silicon carbide.
The high power gallium nitride products improve power with much smaller form factor component and much more compact chargers, blessed by significantly reducing temperature and thermal effect. This fast charging application for mobile devices and notebooks are great potential in future.
We've seen gallium nitride most commonly in wireless chargers, where the move to gallium nitride has not only shrank the size of chargers, but also ensured cooler and safer charging to more efficient power transfers. Like silicon carbide, it all sounds great, but gallium nitride's main drawback again is cost that has prevented its widespread adoption. Besides cost, the manufacturing process using both silicon carbide and gallium nitride is also notoriously complex.
This is a game that is likely to be dominated by public incumbents like STMicro, Texas Instruments. For startups, it is going to be a challenge to get to billion-dollar ventures in their outcomes. The massive capex that is required, because a lot of the innovation that is forthcoming is in manufacturing, better materials technologies, better packaging or integration, all of which require tremendous amounts of capex. We're talking billions of dollars. Secondly, go-to-market costs for wide bandgap semiconductor chips are likely to be very high as well. And the reason for this is that these chips are sold via a process called design wins, where many chips and many components, analog and digital components like microelectronics, are integrated into a large system that is then sold to the ultimate buyer. And they're typically being sold into oligopolies of either the power system designers or the auto OEMs, which ends up resulting in razor-thin margin for the startup who's selling just one or perhaps two chips as part of this larger design system that is being sold.
If I have to summarize the global semiconductor industry, if you have a good year, you have good margin and you are making money. If you have a bad year, you are losing money and you are going to debt.
But as we've seen often in new technologies, with the increasing convergence of tech and applications such as electric vehicles and 5G technology, it might only be a matter of time till we see silicon carbide and gallium nitride as the main base material for semiconductors, and definitely a space to watch out for.
So yun lang yung muling tayo natin na part sa module 2 except for the problem solving. So as you may notice, hindi lang sa yung ating course sa electronics engineering, hindi lang sa communications may wide expansion or development, 5G, 6G, even sa electronics industry. We are moving away from silicon. Okay? Kumiya, anong naalala mong sinabi dun sa video? Ano yan? Paulit? Yung silicon carbide? Okay. Anong example ng difference? Konsignado? Ano bang nakabanggit dun sa video?
Ano po, ang silicone daw po is supposed to go sa
Okay, tama. El Mundo, anything else to add? Ano yan? Ano pa nabanggit sa video? Haba ng video, di ba? Around more than 5 minutes. Ano pa nabanggit sa video? Sa semiconductor industry, our company has a semiconductor business unit. Katabing plant na nung amin, but we do not have them. So kung hindi makakapagsabayan yung aming planta with the new trend, baka we could be left behind. Diba? You know what happened to Nokia? Alam niyo yung Nokia? Ano nangyari sa Nokia? Kailan siya na-phase out? Ano yung pumatay sa kanya? Smartphone. Diba? So, ganun din. Ang problema dito sa new materials, they are more difficult to manufacture. Mas mahirap gawin yung mga devices nito. Yung ating silicon na wafer, siya ay kinakat na using a dicing blade na merong diamond sa dulo to make it very hard. So yan nagagawa effectively sa silicon. Pero yung silicon carbide, sobrang tigas. Alam niyo ba kung saan material made yung diamond? Carbon. And diamond is one of the I think it's the hardest mineral we have. And yung silicon carbide, may carbide siya, which is similar sa material ng diamond. That's why, yung pagkakat pa lang sa kanya, sobrang hirap na. Yung isang dicing blade, can you search magkano isang dicing blade? How much is one dicing blade? Nakakano ba kung magkano? O, 10,000 pesos. Mahal na kasi meron siyang diamond dun sa dulo. Pati yung machine niya, mahal din, yung dicing machine. Pero yung 10,000 pesos na dicing blade, sa normal na silicone, it could last for several months. Pero sa sobrang tigas ng silicone carbide, baka yung isang dicing blade, sa isang araw lang, pudpud na. O something like that. Pangalawa, matagal na nilang alam na pwede gamitin itong silicone carbide, itong gallium nitride. But, wala namang application, wala namang company na gustong bumili ng ganun kamahal na device. Example, kaya na natin lumipad sa outer space. Pero sino sa inyo ang pwedeng mag-avail ng ticket pupunta sa outer? May narinig na ba kayo? Mga commercial aircraft pupunta sa ISS, outer space. Meron na ngayon. But it's very expensive. So, ganoon din yung ating mga ibang manufacturer ng mga devices. Kung mag-i-invento kayo pero sobrang mahal, walang makakabili, walang magiging application for that. So, yun yung naging original story ng ating mga materials na yun. Until dumating ang bagong application, electric vehicle, EV, na pinabunuan ng Tesla in the market. But now, yung kasing design ni Tesla, pinatent niya, pero it was published as an open patent. Ano gusto niyo ng open patent? Pag kasi nag-publish kayo ng patent, ng design idea nyo, pag may ibang gustong gumaya ng idea nyo, you need to pay for royalty dun sa owner nung nag-design. Pero ang ginawa ni, sino may gawa ng Tesla? Ginawa ni Elon Musk is, ginawa niyang open. Pinabis siya sa open patent, din pwedeng kopyahin freely ng ibang competition yung kanyang design. Bakit niya ginawa yun? So to create a competition, a market competition, para mas madami ang mainggan yung bumili. Diba? And naniniwala siya na kahit maraming kumopya sa design niya, mag-o-okay pa rin yung business niya. Nag-okay nga ba? Mayaman ba si Elon Musk? So, yun yung nangyari dito sa bagong materials. They were able to be applied for EV market. And this could be one of your activity when you go to the industry. Something that you will need to adapt to a new material, to a new process, to a new technology. Alam niyo ba yung disket? Alam niyo yung CDR King? Diba? So, some of them are also examples that adapted to the technology. So I think natapos tayo din sa types of sensors last time yung video. So let's continue to this lecture. So siguro hanggang before 11, we could cover kung ano yung makakover natin sa lecture. So sensor is a device which provides a usable output in response to a specified measurement. It acquires a physical parameter, example temperature, light, and so on, and converts it into a suitable signal suitable for processing, kagaya ng optical, electrical, mechanical. So it translates any parameter into an information. So generally, any parameter can be translated to an electrical signal na maintindihan ng ating system. Transducers, ito, passive sensor. Meron dalawang type ng sensor. Passive and active sensor. Passive sensors are transducers which require an external power source for their operation. Ibig sabihin, hindi sila gagana kung walang voltage source, battery, or circuit that will support it. They produce an output signal in the form of some variation in resistance, capacitance, or any other electrical parameter. Dahil kailangan nila ng sariling power supply for this type of sensor to run, so ibig sabihin, the output is really converted to electrical parameters because of that setup. So that has to be converted to an equipment current or voltage signal. So one example of a passive sensor is an LDR. Alam niyo LDR? Light Dependent Resistor. Yung LDR dito. Dito yung sura niya. So this is a passive transducer which will vary the resistance of the cell when light falls on it. So ito ay variable resistor. Paano siya nagbabari? Yung resistance niya nagbabari depende sa light na nare-receive nitong surface nito. Ayan. So actually, this LDR has been conceptualized for use before sa pag-create ng mga tinatawag na color sensor to determine color. So the change in resistance is converted to a proportional signal with the help of a bridge circuit. So pwede daw ikabit itong LDR sa bridge circuit para mas maging enhance yung kanyang sensitivity. So tinatawag na rin siya na photocell. Can be used to measure the intensity of light. Active sensor, in contrast to the passive sensor, they detect and respond to some type of input from the physical environment, and they do not need any external supply or power to operate. An example of the active sensor is a measuring instrument that siya na yung nag-generate ng signal, nagtatransmit papunta sa target at nagre-receive ng reflective signal from the target. So ito yung common na ginagawa ng mga active sensor. Information concerning the target is obtained by comparison of the received signal with the transmitted signal. Ito ang example ng mga active sensor. SEM, Scanning Electron Microscope. Meron sa amin sa laboratory niyan. Isa ito sa microscope na kayang mag-zoom up to times 1,000. kayang makita up to microns, micrometer level. So, ang ginagawa niya, nagbabato siya ng electron, at yung reflection or reaction ng electron, yun yung ginagawa niya to create image. So, meron kami nito sa aming laboratorio to analyze yung aming mga parts. Can you search kung magkano ang SEM? We develop filler materials, yung ginagamit na parang buhangin sa loob ng fuse. So our lab has a capability of different way to analyze the property of our material. ECE or electronics engineers can be one of those na nagsusupport sa laboratory namin because we have several equipments that needs to be maintained. But most of them na mga hinahay to analyze are really graduate of physics or material science or metallurgical engineering. So yung buhangin na pinakita ko na nasa maliit na bag, so they were able to zoom in and check at a 500 micrometer level. So it's applying a high voltage to generate a lot of electrons to create this very small, very zoomed in na image. And from this, we could also analyze what is the composition of the materials. We call it that EDS, analysis na part ng SEM. So from this, we were able to generate the elemental values. Ilan yung example is spectrum 8. Ano kaya yung particle nitong spectrum 8? We could analyze it. Ito pala ay 37% carbon, 47% nitrogen, oxygen, very small part of magnesium, silicon, and so on. So an example, scanning electron microscope. We have a LiDAR. Ano nga meaning ng LiDAR? Can you search anong meaning ng LiDAR? Okay, light detection ranging. Radar. Ito bang radar may meaning din? Pag-search nyo, anong meaning? Okay, GPS. Alam niyo yung GPS?
Global Positioning System.
So yung GPS, meron tayong device, GPS device that can receive signal from multiple satellites. So kaya gumagana GPS, we have actually at least 24 satellites na umiikot sa Earth at different orientation so that anywhere around the world, it can detect your GPS tracker. Pwede nyo ma-detect. Ano mga pwede makuha sa GPS? Your latitude, your longitude, your position. Ano pa? Your elevation. Ano pa? Your speed. your distance from a reference location, and for other navigation. X-ray. In our company, we have so many X-ray, like more than 10 X-ray machine. Because we want to inspect yung loob ng aming mga parts na pinaproduce if they have some issues. Sonar. Ang aming sonar. Ano, may meaning ba yung sonar? Okay, so, gumagamit siya ng ultrasonic, so, hindi natin naririnig unless may nakakarinig dito ng ultrasound. So, ginagamit siya sa mga barko para malaman kung malapit na ba yung ilalim ng mga ship sa ground, sa surface. Kasi pag masyadong malapit na pwedeng sumadsad, mahirapan silang makaalis. Ang ginagamit din itong sonar, kapag naglalatag ng mga pipes and cables, para malaman nila kung gaano kahaba yung cable na dapat na pinifreelen, kapag naglalatag ng mga, alam niyo ba naglalatag ng kable sa ilalim ng dagat? Undersea cables, mga fiber optic. Infrared at seismic. Alam niyo seismic?
Yes.
Sa lindol, earthquake. So among those sensors, yung active sensor na i-discuss natin in details ay itong proximity sensor. Why? Because this sensor has a lot of application. Isa ito sa most widely used sensor sa industry. So proximity sensor detects an object when it approaches within a boundary of the sensor. So yung proximity sensor can be set to a separate range. So pwede kayong bumili covering a separate range. Gano'ng kalayo yung distance na kaya niya i-sense. They are used in various facets of manufacturing for detecting the approach of different objects. So, sa mga machines namin, we have fully automated machines. We are using hundreds or even thousands of proximity sensors. The various types of proximity sensors are used for detecting the presence or absence of an object without any physical contact. Pwede nyo daw ma-detect yung object na hindi pa nagtatouch yung ating sensor. Meron pang distance. It provides a long-range detection which is evidently more precise than the human vision. Ibig sabihin, yung maaaring hindi nakikita ng tao, kaya makita nitong mga sensors na to. They often emit either an electromagnetic or electrostatic field, or another example could be infrared, could also be ultrasonic sound, and looks for changes in the field or return signal. So nagkakaroon sila ng field or generation of energy. Yung energy na yun, dinedetect nila kung nagbago or hindi nagbago. And the object being sensed is often referred to as the proximity sensor's target. The maximum distance that it can detect is defined as the nominal range. And they have some adjustment ng nominal range or means to report a graduated detection distance. So pwede nyo baguhin, pwede nyo i-adjust. So there are several applications ng proximity sensor. Example nga ay sa production. Meron kaming bote, pagdaan dito sa dispensing ng tubig, dapat sakto yung position niya. Tama ba yung position ng bote? Kung tama, magdi-dispense naman ng water. Ang sunod na isa ng proximity. Puno ba? Puno na ba o hindi pa? Magdi-dispense siya ng water eh. Pag puno na, stop dispensing. Then, anong sunod na station after ng water dispensing? Anong sunod na gagawin?
Water.
O may bote ng tubig. Empty. Nilagyan na, nag-stop sa dispensing, nag-dispense ng water. Nag-stop. Anong sunod na station? Ano yan? Ayun, lalagyan ng takip. So, ipoposition mo ulit. Tapos, lalagyan ng takip. Anong sunod na pwedeng process after lagyan ng takip?
Branding.
Yan?
Lalagyan ng label.
O, lalagyan ng label. O, after nun,
Packaging na.
ilalagay sa final packaging. Naka-box ba yan? Naka-pallet? Naka-plastic? So, marami. Sobrang dami sa manufacturing setup ng mga proximity sensor. Sa isang machine, it could be 1,000. Okay? Safety. Saan ginagamit ang proximity sensor for safety? Sa mga, parang meron dun sa picture, oh. Sa sasakyan, safety. Paano nangyayari yung safety sa sasakyan?
Tutunog po.
Kapag, so yung, saan meron proximity sensor sa sasakyan? Saan?
Sa labas po ng sasakyan.
O sa labas nga, kasi sa labas yung detective. Sa part? Sa labas o sa bubong? Sa labas ng bubong, di ba? Ano ang i-detect mo sa bubong kung may falling object? So meron sa likod. Ano ang isa sa likod? Isa sa main application ng sensor sa likod, yung proximity sensor sa likod ay kapag nagpa-park. Para alam nyo kung bumangga na kayo. Tama ba? Meron din ba ang proximity sensor sa harap?
Meron po.
Hindi lahat, pero may mga ilang model na sasakyan na may sensor sa harap para alam mo kapag bumangga ka na sa harap. Ano ba? And one critical information na ginagamit din para sa mga sensor is for autonomous operation. Sasakyan na driverless. So meron mga sasakyan na ang main pa lang na na-automate ay self-parking. So para sa mga hindi marunong mag-park. So may mga sasakyan na nabibili, siya na yung mag-park. So the car will be using the sensors for that application. May mga autonomous naman na driving, self-driving. So kailangan yung sensor sa harap or even sa tagiliran to prevent collision or banggaan. Biometrics technology, saan kaya ginagamit yung proximity sensor sa biometrics technology? Ano yan? Proximity. For proximity.
Pag may face recognition po.
Pag may?
Face recognition yung sasakyan.
Actually, yung isa is para ma-detect mo na kung may tao bago niya i-activate na yung mga bahay. Sa amin, meron kaming roll-up door. Alam niyo yung roll-up door? Na bago kayo makapasok, kailangan ng fingerprint scan.
Biometric.
For security. Paano mo malalaman kung bababa na yung roll-up door at walang tatamaan ng tao? May proximity sensor. So dapat, pag wala ng tao, saka lang siya bababa. Okay? Ayun, may nakakita, may nabili sa Dali. Tama kayo, example, sa Dali. Ano meron sa Dali?
Automatic.
Lahat ba ng Dali, gano'n?
Opo.
Okay, so far sa lahat naman ng Dali na nadaanan ko, automatic na magbukas yung door. Yun ata yung kanilang feature.
Yung kanilang ano.
Next, urban environment. So when we are getting urbanized, so napakarami application dito. Kagaya lang sa toll gate, di ba? Yung barrier, automatic tumataas ang mga ba. For entertainment, ano kayang entertainment application na mayroon dito sa proximity sensor?
Entertainment.
Entertainment, sabihin mga games, mga amusement park.
Sa VR.
Ayun, sa Wii.
So hindi specifically proximity sensor but a motion detector.
Motion sensor.
Di ba meron mga games na wala na kayong console,
Wii.
katawan nyo na yung ginagamit.
Sa Wii po, Wii.
Crime prevention. Appliances, so may mga appliances na may proximity sensor. Example, alam ba nung nakakita na kayo ng washing machine?
Opo.
Yung microwave oven na lang, parang simple, oven. Meron yung proximity sensor na alam niya kapag naka-open o naka-close yung door. So yung microwave oven, pag naka-open yung door, gagana ba? Hindi. So, ganoon din yung hindi ko sure kung lahat, pero may mga washing machine, automated na ganoon din sa mga appliances, yung proximity sensor. Medical technology. So, ito yung general block diagram ng components ng ating proximity sensor. Meron tayong sensing phase. Yun yung ibabaw, parang ibabaw ng LDR or ibabaw ng phototransistor. Ganun din yung ating proximity sensor. Meron siyang surface, tinatawag na sensing phase. Doon mo itututok yung object na gusto mong i-sense. It is responsible for the emission of the electrostatic or the electromagnetic field in which the target will be exposed. Ito rin yung part na exposed pwede mong, sa mga sasakyan, may proximity sensor, yung bilog na makikita nyo sa labas na bumper, yun yung sensing phase. Okay? Meron siyang oscillator sa loob, siya yung nag-create ng repetitive signal which is with a defined frequency, in which its amplitude varies depending on the distance of the target from the sensing phase. So, ito yung nagbibigay ng signal. Dito may di-define ano yung frequency and amplitude depending kung gaano kalayo yung gusto mong i-detect o gaano kalapad. Okay? We also have a demodulator. So, kapag nagbato kasi yung oscillator ng signal, titingnan niya kung may nagbago. So, yun yung marireceive ng demodulator. It extracts signal amplitude from the oscillating carrier which carries the information equivalent or linear to the distance of the target from the sensing phase. The signal strength is being compared to a sufficient level and triggers a feedback which is sent to the flip-flop circuit. Ano yung naman yung meron sa flip-flop? This is actually a memory. Flip-flop is a memory. It triggers the output when it has received a feedback signal from the comparator in the demodulator circuit. So ano gagawin ni demodulator? Titignan niyo yung na-receive na signal, ito compare niya sa previous, nagbago ba or hindi. Pag hindi, sasabihin niya kay flip-flop 0. Pag nagbago, sasabihin niya ay 1. So, yung digital, ganun lang, on or off. Or it could be analog, na iba't ibang level, depende kung gaano kalayo. So, yun yung store mo kay flip-flop. Ano yung na-receive kong signal na yon? Meron bang nadedetect na object? Gaano kalayo yung nadedetect na object? Yung lahat ng ay ini-store natin sa flip-flop. And for the output, this acts as a switch that is physically connected to the circuitry in which the sensor is wired. So yung na-receive kong may information sa flip-flop, kailangan kong i-convert sa kailangan ng controller. Ito ba ay PLC? Ito ba ay microcontroller? Ito ba ay microprocessor? Arduino? Raspberry Pi? Depende kung ano yung i-connect ko na controller, yung output na to, yung ibibigay ko na adjustment. Kailangan ko ba ay positive 5 volts? Kailangan ko ba ay plus 3 volts? Kailangan ko ba ay plus 25 volts? Depende sa controller na ginagamit. Okay, let's have a short exercise. So, isa sa application na sobrang dami na ng sensor na nailagay ay ang sasakyan. Diba? Car, especially yung mga EV. Meron mga fully auto driving nga, di ba? So, aside sa nabanggit na kanina, yung ating proximity sensor sa harap at sa likod. So, aside from that, paki-close ka ng laptop para walang undengan. Can you specify any other sensor na meron sa sasakyan ngayon? Let's go from the back. Nagpaikot. Sige.
Jeans.
Nade-detect ko if kakatingin lang po yung gas mo warning po yung
Yung alin?
nade-detect ko if yung gas mo po is kakatingin.
Yung fuel gauge. Kasi yung unang panahon, at saka meron pala sa ngayong panahon, na walang fuel gauge. Paano nila tinecheck? Yung dipstick. Diba? Okay, next. Bawal maulit ha.
Ikaw pinakaulit.
Last. Last.
Ikaw last.
Kawawan.
Ang dami pa. Kawawa na sa dulo. Wala ka pa agad na bigay. Water level ng?
Water level sensor.
Para saan yung water level? May tubig ba ang sasakyan? Sa anong water level meron doon? Yung sa water level sa mga wiper, di ba? Nagdi-dispense nung pang windshield. Sige, next. Ano yan? Airbag, okay. Airbag sensor. Okay, next. Seatbelt. Malalaman ba ng kotse kung naka-seatbelt?
Yes.
Yes. Kasi may mga magnetic sensor yung ginagamit na iba. We have our reed switch. Meron kami pinamanufacture din na gano'n. Okay, next. Temperature ng? Air conditioning temperature. Okay, next.
Yung RPM, electromagnetic, RPM,
Yung rotation ng cylinder ng motor. Next.
Sir, tanda ko kung kaya ko i-detect ko yung internal pressure ko sa mga tires.
Yes, tire pressure. Hindi lang nagdetect, meron yung sasakyan nag-auto-fill na nung tire pressure na gusto mo. Okay, next. O, di ba madami? Next.
EGR sensor.
Ano yung EGR sensor?
Excess gas recirculation sensor.
Para malaman ko?
Sa tambuche po yun yung pH level ng...
Okay. Oh, para dun sa natira, may hint. Kung nakakita na kayo ng dashboard ng sasakyan, pag ini-start mo, ang dami nung nailaw. Yun yung mga sensor na iba pa. Meron pang reminis. Sige, next.
So, yung sa Manila po, since po yung mga unit po is more electronic, yung mga
Dami niya.
mas mga po ng mechanical po. At kung may sensor po na para mabilis.
Natang wala akong sa sasakyan.
Hindi ko naman develop.
O, tama. May sensor na different din sa speed mo. Tsaka,
Taga-sakay lang.
alam mo, kapag mabilis ka, hindi mo pwedeng iikot yung manibela quickly kasi delikado mo, flip mo yung sasakyan. O, next.
Mga taga-sakay lang eh, no? ABS. Yeah!
Pag mayroon, alam
Ano kaya ang sasabihin nito?
okay, for security. O, yung iba, walang default, nag-a-add ng sensor, nag-a-alarm, natunog, di ba? O, next. Speedometer para sa? O, hindi lang bilis. Pati yung distance travel, kinokomputeran nyo. Marami pa, di ba? O, next.
Yung mga taga-sakay.
O, tama. Bawat pinto, meron alarm. May mga sasakyan, nakita mo na rin kung aling pinto ang hindi nagbukas o hindi nagsara. Okay, next.
Yung sa trunk po, pwede pong...
O, advance naman, truck, ano?
Sa trunk po, yung automatically pag may detect po na yung back.
Yung truck, okay. Yung truck pala, okay. Next. Kapag? Tama. So, actually, kung sa battery, maraming ka doon. Temperature ng engine mo. Yung oil, kung may problema na sa langis. Kung may nagsasensor din naman kasi sabihin sa'yo, 4 PM na yung sasakyan mo. Diba? So actually marami pa. Sige, can you search ka, ilang sensor meron sa isang modern car ngayon? O diba? Ay ilan lang kayo? 40. Kaya labis-labis pa yan. So napakadami po talaga ng mga sensors na meron ngayon. Okay, yung proximity sensor, which is sensing yung lapit, have actually different types. So, ito yung unang types ng proximity sensor, yung inductive and capacitive proximity sensor. So, inductive proximity sensor, this is widely used in modern high-speed process control environment for detection, positioning, and counting of ferrous and non-ferrous metal objects. Ano ibig sabihin yan? Dahil ang inductive proximity sensor is generating signal in the form of electromagnetic field. Ang nasa-sense lang niya ay yung nagre-react sa magnetic field, which are mainly metals. So kung gusto mong makadetect ng metals lang at i-exequera niya yung mga non-metal, ito yung sensor na pinaka-fit para dun sa application na yun. Ito ang inductive proximity sensor. Eh di ba merong ano na ngayon, bagong mga security measures? Pagpasok ng mga facility like school, yung pag-check ng mga metal. So ito yung isa sa pinaka-useful, inductive proximity sensor. Kasi ang main na kaya niyang i-detect nila ay yung mga metal. So bukod sa school, saan pa kami may mga metal detection? Sa airport. So pagpasok nyo ng airport, lahat ng metal part will undergo X-ray. Dapat yung tao, walang dalang any metal, lulusot yun. Ano pa bukod sa airport?
Malls.
Sa mga malls, pero same application. How about different application metal detection? Meron pa ba iba?
Sa ano po? Metal detection sa lupa.
Sa lupa, para malaman kung may pwedeng mamina sa ilalim. So may mga metal detector, pwedeng through inductive proximity sensor, malalaman mo kung may object, metallic object underground. At hindi lang kung meron, gaano kalalim. Ba, any else na pwede nyo maisip? Use of this proximity sensor, inductive, for metal.
Sa company na,
Sa manufacturing actually madami. Example, meron kami plastic na minomold. So, pag meron nakasama doon na metal, masisira yung aming molding machine. So, meron kami metal detector. Pag may na-detect na metal, lahat ng part ng pellet, may pellet din ng plastic tatapon niya para hindi pumasok. So, they rely on the effect of a magnet approaching a high turns ratio coil that produce a voltage proportional to the relative distance of that magnetic source from that coil. So yun nga, main property niya, dahil ito ay inductive, it rely on magnetic property ng mga objects. The next type is a capacity proximity sensor. So ang inductive, ang pinoproduce niya ay electromagnetic field. Ito namang capacitive, ang pinoproduce niya ay electrostatic field. So it is similar to inductive proximity sensor in terms of construction, but the main difference is that capacitive proximity sensor produces an electrostatic field instead of electromagnetic. Pero kung titignan nyo yung itsura niya, halos magkamukha lang sila. Capacitive switches will sense metal as well as non-metallic materials such as paper, glass, liquid, and cloth. So yung kagandahan ng capacitive switch, pwede siyang makadetect both metal and non-metal. So pwede pala pareho. So mas marami yung kanyang pwedeng masense. So ito yung ating electrostatic field. Kapag mayroong target present, nagkakaroon siya ng oscillation. Kung sa mga wala, flat lang yung signal. So the sensing surface of a capacitive sensor is formed by two concentrically shaped metal electrodes of an unwound capacitor. When an object nears the sensing surface, it enters electrostatic field of the electrodes and changes the capacitance in an oscillator circuit. As a result, the oscillator begins oscillating. Kapag may object nga, nag-oscillate yung signal, triggering the circuit and triggering the output of the sensor. Yung mga lumang mga touchscreen na mga devices, they are made of capacitive sensing surface. Meron din mga sensor na capacitive, itatouch mo lang yung mga buttons. Hindi mo ilulubog, itatouch mo lang. So yung example ng application ng mga capacitive sensor. So yung mga capacitive na touchscreen before, pag ibang object ang pinang-touch mo, hindi gagana. Kasi hindi siya nagre-react dun sa electrostatic field. While yung kamay ng tao, mas sensitive. Bakit? Malalaman natin mamaya. As the target moves away from the sensor, lumiliit yung oscillation na sinakita natin illustration kanina. Switching the sensor output back to the original state. So, ano yung main, kaya niyang ma-detect lahat ng object, but it really depends on the dielectric constant of the target. Ano ba yung dielectric constant? tinatawag din itong breakdown voltage. So ito yung property ng mga non-conductor. Usually, insulator. Property ng mga insulator kung saan pwede siyang specify kung gaano kalaking voltage at specific distance na kailangan mo para magkaroon ng conduction. Okay? Review lang natin. May tatlong types ng material. Ano yung tatlong types? Conductor, insulator, and semiconductor. Pag sinabi conductor, it easily conducts electricity. Kapag sinabing insulator, yun ang elementary and high school definition. Pero pag sinabing pang-engineering student, pag sinabing insulator, does not easily flow electricity. Pero pwede pa rin mag-flow. Ang kamay ba ng tao ay conductor o insulator?
Conductor.
Ang hangin ba ay conductor o insulator? Ang hangin. Parang nahirapan kayo dito.
Insulator.
Itong air, ito ba ay conductor o insulator? Kung yan ay conductor, di nag-short circuit na lahat ng mga outlet dito.
Insulator.
So, ang hangin ay insulator. Pero kaya bang dumaan ang kuryente sa hangin? May evidence
Yes.
kayo? May evidence kayo na dumaan ang kuryente sa hangin? Kidlat. Ano pa? Di ba may device na pang pang self-defense laser? So, kailangan mo ng voltage at specific distance. Ang tawag doon ay dielectric constant. Yun yung property ng mga insulator. Tinatawag din na breakdown voltage. So, kaya mo mag-conduct sa mga insulator. Kailangan mo lang ng mas mataas na
Voltage.
energy. So, sabi dito, yung capability ni capacitive proximity sensor na mag-detect mainly rely on the dielectric constant. Pag mas mataas ang dielectric constant, mas malayo yung sensing range ng ating proximity sensor. So, yan yung chart na nagre-reflect kung paano nagre-react itong sensor nito. So, ibig sabihin, we have to be familiar in some of the dielectric strength values. Anong material ang mataas ang dielectric strength? Alin yung mababa? Yung mga mababa ang dielectric strength, edi medyo mahihirapan si capacitive proximity sensor na ma-detect. Pero yung mga matataas, whether metal or non-metal, basta mataas o kanyang dielectric strength, mas madali niyang ma-assess. O, ito yung table na pwede natin gamitin reference. Okay, alin dito ang pinakamataas? Ano ang may pinakamalaking dielectric strength dito? Yan yung table? Water? Ano pa yung water? Yung iba, hindi pa ata nakita yung water. O, 80. Eh, yung katawan ng tao is made up of around 60% water. Kaya, madaling mag-sense ang any part of our body, like yung kamay, sa mga capacitive proximity sensor. Yung sunod sa water na pinakamataas, alcohol. Ano naman yung nakita yung pinakamababa? Air vacuum. So, hindi na nagsisense ng air or vacuum ang capacitive proximity sensor. So, pakireview na lang ito ha. Hindi ninyo naman kailangan saluhin lang itong values but yung relative na mid-range, lower range, higher range. Example daw. Ang capacitive sensor, naminabilit kayo capacitive proximity sensor. Ang rated distance niya na nakalagay dun sa specs na binili nyo ay 10 mm. Ang gagamitin nyo daw na object for its detection is alcohol. Ano yung dielectric strength ng alcohol? 25.8. At 25.8, ano yung magiging sensing range niya? 85%. So, ibig sabihin, yung alcohol, hindi mo madetect at exactly 10 mm. Kailangan mong i-trust by 85%, equivalent to 8.5 mm. So, liliit ang kanyang sensing distance using alcohol. So, napakaganda ng property na to ng capacitive proximity sensor. Ito yung ilan sa application niya. 1. Controlling the field level of solids in a bin or detecting fluids in containers such as milk. Ano ang ginagamit natin usually container ng mga liquids or milk? Ano yan? Karton, yung Tetra Pak, ano pa? Plastic? May nag-glass bottle pa ba gano'n?
Meron po.
Meron pa. Tingnan natin yung mga example ng mga yan. So, glass ay 5. Ano pa? Plastic. May plastic pa dyan? Plastic ay, ito, ilan sa mga plastic? May mga poly. Because plastics are also known as polymers. Yan, polyamide, polyethylene, polypropylene, polystyrene, yan. Polyvinyl chloride or PVC, yan, mga plastic yung mga yan. Ano pa? Carton. Meron ba dito? For carton?
Yan, paper-based laminate.
Oil impregnated paper. Meron yung mga paper yan. So ito ay malayo compare sa water and alcohol. Right? So kung yung milk ay may content ng liquid water, malayo yung kanyang sensing range sa liquid na milk versus dun sa kanyang container. Ibig sabihin, bulag siya dun sa mga container. Pwede i-set up nyo na bulag sa container, ang masasense niya yung nasa loob ng container. So kahit pa hindi transparent yung lalagyan, yung nasa loob ang masasense ng capacitive proximity sensor. So alam niya kung may laman or wala. Okay? So, of course, lalo na kung water. Kung water yung laman ng container. So, this sensor has the ability to see through the plastic and detects the water inside the container. So yung unang dalawang type ay ng proximity sensor ay yung inductive and capacitive. So the third type is the ultrasonic proximity sensor. Actually, aside from the three, marami pang ibang gaya ng IR proximity, laser proximity. Pero ito yung tatlo na may nilang ibibitaw. Ito naman yung tsura ng ultrasonic proximity sensor. You could easily identify compared dun sa inductive and capacitive type. Iba yung tsura nito ultrasonic. So meron siyang dalawang sensing phase. Isa is for transmitting, the other one is for receiving. Yung kasing nauna, yung sensing phase is common when they transmit or receive. Pero sa ultrasonic, you need to have a separate sensing phase for transmitting and receiving. Meron bang nakakakuha ng ultrasonic? So nakita nyo na, kamukha ba? Okay. So when a target enters the beam, the sound is nagre-reflect ba ang sound? May property ba ang sound na nagre-reflect? Yes, diba kaya may echo, reverberation.
Echo.
So ginagamit niyo yung property ngayon. So ito yung magbabato ng sound, ito yung magre-receive. So yung property na yun, ginamit niya to sense distance. Paano na nalalaman yung distance? Meron bang velocity ang sound? May speed ba ang sound? Yes. So by using the speed of sound, malalaman mo dun sa received signal kung gaano kalayo yung reflection. So yun yung property ng ating ultrasonic proximity sensor. So it has a piezoelectric ceramic disc mounted into the sensor space that can transmit and receive high frequency pulses. Since sound are produced by vibration, nagbabibrate itong mga sensing phase nito. A high frequency voltage is applied to the disc, causing it to vibrate at the same frequency. So, example, 40 kHz ang pinasok ng voltage. 40 kHz din yung sound na mapoproduce niya. It will produce the high frequency sound wave, and when transmitted, pulse strike like a sound reflecting object, echoes are produced. The duration of the reflected pulse is evaluated at the transducer. When the target enters the preset operating range, the output of the switch changes the state. So ito yung kanilang illustration. Meron kang initial signal in a form of sound na tinransmit. And then meron kang na-receive na echo. So yung ating transmitter, hindi siya laging nagbabato ng sound. Meron siyang interval. Para malaman niya, dito sa mga time na wala siyang binabatong signal, meron ba siyang ma-receive? So yun yung echo. So from this, you could determine gaano kalaki yung distance nung na-sense ng object. So the emitted pulse is actually a set of 30 pulses at an amplitude of 200k volts. And the echo can be in microvolts. So kailangan medyo mataas yung amplitude ng iyong transmit kasi sobrang liit ng reflected na signal na maririnig mo. A blind zone exists directly in front of the sensor. So dito sa front ng sensor, hindi mo pwedeng lagyan ng object kasi masyadong maikli, magre-reflect back agad dyan dun sa katabing sensor na mag-overlap dun sa transmission. So magkakaroon ng error. So meron siyang blind zone. Depending on the sensor blind zone, it is ranging from between 6 to 8 cm. Objects placed in the blind zone will produce unstable output at hindi madedetect properly. So the time interval between the transmitted and the echo is directly proportional to the distance. And yung kanyang sensing range is based on the amplitude. Ano yung pinakamahinang signal na kaya bumalik na madedetect niya? Pangalawa, yung interval ng pulse ng mga sound na tinatransmit. So doon na-determine yung kanyang range. So yung range niya is not actually from 0. Ito ang range niya na ginagamit, may minimum, may maximum. Okay? Hindi sa maximum lang, meron din siyang minimum. Hindi kagaya ng nauna, yung passive but inductive, pwede minimum 0, pwede idikit mo. Dito hindi mo pwede idikit. At yung actual operating range, pwede mo pang i-further na low para sa optimum level. So the operating range can be adjusted in terms of its width, gaano kalapad, position within the sensing range, ano yung position ng object. The upper limit can be adjusted on all sensors, and the lower limit with only certain version. So usually daw, ang na-adjust mo ay yung distance, gaano kalayo yung ma-detect. The object beyond the upper limit will not produce a change at the output sensor. This is known as the blocking out the background. So, yung lampas sa range niya, hindi nyo na ma-detect yun. It will be like a background or a black output. So dahil ito ay sound, hindi siya straight. Sound is being transmitted at a conical shape. Okay? So meron siyang main cone and several neighboring cones. So ang main cone dito ay ito. Itong gray sa gitna. Ito yung main cone. Meron din siyang mga maliliit na cone dito sa gilid. Kaya pag dito ako nagsasalita, naririnig nyo pa rin dito sa side ko yung sinasabi ko, di ba? So yun yung side cones. Pero yung pinaka-importante yung nakaharap dito. Okay? Usually daw, the main angle is around 5 degrees. 5 degrees. So, ibig sabihin, pag lampas ka na sa 5 degrees, baka hindi na masense ng ayos. Beam width is the radio antenna pattern, is the angle between the half power points of the main load. So, itong 5 degrees, it is also known as the beam width ng ating radiation. Kung dahil ang ating mga ultrasonic proximity sensor relies on the property of sound, ibig sabihin, kung ano yung mga nangyayari sa sound, nangyayari din dito sa ultrasonic proximity sensor. So, tingnan natin kung ano yung mga yun. So, meron tayong tinatawag na free zone. It must be maintained around the sensor to allow for neighboring cones. The following slides will show the examples of the free area required for different situation. Una, parallel sensor. So, two sensors with the same sensing range have been mounted parallel to each other. Example, sa sasakyan, di ba? Sa sasakyan sa likod na bumper, usually ilan ang proximity sensor na nakikita nyo? Di ba may bumper yung likod ng sasakyan? May mga bilog-bilog doon. Usually ilan yung nakikita nyo?
Apat po.
Iba dalawa. Meron bang mas marami pa sa dalawa?
Apat.
Iba apat. So, sila, ang setup nila ay parallel. Ang sinesense nila ay same direction. Pero nilagyan mo minsan ng madami, kasi minsan, dalawa, magkabilang dulo, pero may poste dito. Hindi niya makikita. Di ba? Ang ginawa ng apat. Bakit hindi 10? Gawa ito. Yan. So, if the sensing range of the sensor is 66 cm, they must be located at least 15 cm apart. Hindi pwedeng magkatabi. Kasi magkakaroon ng parang o dalawang proximity sensor. Pag pinagtabi mo, yung binato nito, maririnig nito. Akala niya may obstruction na wala pa pala. So ito yung setup. May dalawang parallel proximity sensor. Ang target niya ay same direction. Para effectively mag-sense siya, ito ang table. Okay? Depende sa sensing range. Kung ang layo nito ay 6 to 30 cm, dapat ang pagitan ay 15 cm. Kung mas malayo, 20 to 130, mas malayo din dapat ang pagitan niya. More than 60. So meron siyang table. And approximately times 2. Okay? 15 times 2, 30. 60 times 2, 120. 150 times 2, 300. So, kapag ang layo ng sensor nyo ay 500 meter, at least 250 meter ang pagitan ng dalawang proximity sensor. So, times 2 yung equivalent. Okay? Para yon sa parallel sensor. Bakit natin ayaw na masyadong magkadikit yung dalawang sensor? Nagkakaroon kasi ng tinatawag na mutual interference. This occurs when sensors are mounted in close proximity to each other and the target is in a position to reflect echo to a sensor in the proximity, yung katabi. And in this case, yung x na distance sa pagitan ng dalawang sensor can be determined para para mawala itong mutual interference. Mawala yung missensing. You could also determine this x through experimentation. Pwede dito experiment bago nyo i-finalize yung position ng mga sensor. Okay, next, opposing sensor magkatapat. So, usually nangyayari ito sa manufacturing setup. Marami yung may conveyor, marami yung bote. Para ma-detect mo both sides, naglagay ng sensor both sides. Alam nyo na nagbabato yan ng sound. So, kailangan may enough distance sa pagitan ng dalawang sensor na mas malayo pa sa kanyang sensing range. So, example nga, ito sensing range, 30. Okay, may dalawang sensor. Ito sensor 1, ang range niya 30. Itong sensor 2, ang range niya 30 din. 30 plus 30, 60. Enough na ba yung 60? Sakto masyado, hindi. So, based dito, almost times 4. Okay? So, dapat ito 30. 30, 30, 30. So, mayroong, kung 30 ang sensing range ng dalawang sensor, may dalawa pang 30 sa gitna na bakante. Almost times 4 yung kailangan nyo naman kapag opposing. Yung ating parallel times 2 lang, pero kapag opposing times 4. Okay? Next, flat and irregular shaped surfaces. Sensors mounted next to a flat surface such as wall or smooth machine place requires less free area than the sensors mounted to a shape. Ano ibig sabihin ito? Ito yung sensor. Ito yung dito ako magsisense. Ito wall. Nilagay ko dito yung sensor. May effect ba itong wall na to? Ito na direction? Yes, meron. Kailangan may distance x ka dito sa wall. Depende kung ang surface nito ay flat or smooth or rough. So kapag irregular, mas malaki. Pero kapag flat, mas maikli yung distance na kailangan mo. So yung irregular surface actually requires times 2. Mas malayo kapag irregular yung surface. Kapag flat, 3 lang. Kapag irregular, 6. Okay? Based dito sa table na to. Next, angular alignment. So yung object na gusto mong i-detect, hindi rin pwedeng nakatagilid kasi baka mag-missense. So, kailangan ma-ensure mo na yung object na i-detect mo ay flat. Okay? Kung siya ay round, walang problema. Kapag round, laging meron siyang tangent portion na mag-reflect back directly. Pero kapag flat, yun ang may problema. Kasi pag inangle mo yan, sa ibang sensor pupunta yung signal. So, pero meron siyang ina-allow na up to 3 degrees variation. Plus minus 3 degrees. So again, the angular alignment allows a maximum deviation of plus minus 3 degrees in order for it to be sensed properly, the flat surface. Next, liquid and coarse grained materials. So liquids such as water are also limited to alignment of 3 degrees. So ano ibig sabihin nun? So syempre tubig, sa ibabaw mo i-sense kung puno na. So dapat yung sensor mo, hindi ito magilid ng 3 degrees. Kapag naman mga coarse grain, example ng coarse grain materials, mga powder, mga sand, kapag dinispense mo ang sand, anong itsura sa pinagpatakan niya? Parang nag-form like a mountain, di ba? So dapat daw yung kanyang wall is around 45 degrees. So kapag sa water, dapat 3 degrees lang yung deviation ng kanyang surface or ng sensor. At sa course nila, dapat ang angle na ito ay 45 degrees to sense it properly. Okay, next, jumping out on object. An object may be located in the vicinity of the sound in the sound cone can cause improper operation of the sensor. Ang ibig sabihin nito, meron kasing mga object na nag-a-absorb ng sound. At kapag yun ay nag-a-absorb ng sound, itong ating sensor ay ultrasonic, pwede niyang mabago yung ating sensing property. Pwede niyang i-block. Example, gusto ko ito yung target, pero meron akong dadaanan na parang butas, aperture. Para hindi ko ma-detect itong nakaharang na to, gagawan ko ng paraan para maging sound absorbing yung kanyang surface. Para hindi ito ma-detect. Ang ma-detect niya, yung nandun sa butas. Okay? Dahil siya ay ultrasonic sound. Kung meron mo ditong sound absorbing material, hindi siya ma-detect ng ating ultrasonic proximity sensor. Of course, gawin din kung ang ating gusto i-detect ay mga sound absorbing material, hindi yan ma-detect easily ng ultrasonic proximity sensor. Ano ba example ng mga sound absorbing material? Mga foam. Yung nakikita nyo sa sinihan, di ba? Spider-Man?
Sa dinagay ng
Egg-tray, nag-absorb din yun. Okay? So meron pang ilang naiwan, but I have to cut to this portion so that I can discuss you yung next experiment. Okay, yung next experiment ay na-discuss ko na last time. So ngayon, pagpipilian na lang natin ay ano yung topic na mapapa-assign to each group. Okay, mag-a-assign ako dito ng area. At ito na yung mga i-consider ko na list.
What is that? Ito naman tayo.
Kung ano yung makapunta sa sequence, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yun yung assignment per group, okay? Ito yung mga topics, ito yung mga areas. Sa bahay nyo, bedroom, kitchen. Ito sa school, clinic, canteen, itong lab room. So, ano gagawin nyo? Kailangan nyo picturean yung actual na area na pag-a-apply nyo. Kung bedroom ng isang member ng group nyo, nalagay nyo na conceptual framework. Saan nyo ilalagay yung mga sensor? Ano ibig sabihin nito? Group 1, ang nakasign sa inyo ay bedroom. Group 1, pumili ng area sa any member, yung bedroom, pipicturan. Kaya assignment siya eh.
Eloy.
Kaya di ba mag-identify kayo ng 5 sensor at 5 actuator na magkakaiba. Plus yung inyong default sensor. Ano default sensor ng group 1? O, kailangan nyo mag-apply ng color sensor sa inyong bedroom.
Oh, fuck.
Ano application ng color sensor? Sino group 2? Sino group 2? Clinic, anong sensor na default nyo? O, sakto, meron mga application dyan, marami. Sa clinic. Okay?
Diyan sa school.
Clinic dito sa school. Baka pumunta ko kayo sa hospital. Okay, next. Kitchen. Sino sa kitchen? Anong default sensor? Sakto. Kitchen. Yung tagamit yan. Next. Sino group 4? Ano default sensor?
Ultrasonic.
Magagamit nyo rin yan dito.
Lab room.
Lab room. So, picture kayo dito.
Dami
Pwede
dito.
ngayon, pwede mamaya pag umalis na yung iba. Okay?
Safest. Lab room.
So, ngayon, di ba magkahanap kayo ng mga sensor? Okay? So, marami ang pwedeng mabilhan ng sensor. Ang pinakita ko last time ay Lazada, Shopee. Saan pa kaya pwedeng makabili ng mga sensor? Electronics. Hindi, sa online. Kasi nakakibit nyo ngayon online.
TikTok.
Sa TikTok, ayaw ko lang may mga sensor na makikita doon.
Marketplace po.
Okay, ito yung ilan. Duplicate ko lang. Medyo mahaba.
Bibili pa rin tayo ng consent.
Ay, hindi na bibili. Ang gagawin ay i-identify yung nasa lab.
Identify?
Ang gagawin nyo sa experiment, di ba? Mag-identify lang. Itatali yung price, advantages, disadvantages. Okay? Kailangan magawa kayo ng consent sa bahay nyo, okay? Yung mga napiling default sensor, bawal na yung gamitin ng ibang group. Example, temperature sensor, hindi na pwede gamitin ng group 1, ng group 2. Yan, ultrasonic proximity sensor, hindi na pwede gamitin ng ibang group. Okay? Pipili na kayo ng iba't ibang group. Sa amin sa industry, bumibili rin kami online. Okay? Ano yung mga pwedeng pag-searchan? Ito, RS Component Philippines. Pwede rin kayo mag-search dito. Example, proximity sensor.
Ang galing. Meron pa lang yun.
Yung pagkakaiba lang, yung nandito, of course, they are industrial. Pang industry, pang mas matitibay, mas readily available sa PLC, mas mahal.
Mga doon sa 70.
Pero yan, mga iba't ibang proximity sensor.
Ang galing. Meron pa lang yun.
Okay.
O kung meron, halimbawa, yung
7K?
proximity sensor, may sa kanilang lang requirement, kailangan nila ng 10, edi 10 times price ng isa.
Grabe. 8,000. 7,000 yung black capacitor. My God. Granger lang ito.
Bawas pa lang yung interest.
Japan surplus po. Sa Aegis Hardware, meron bang yun? Sensor sir?
Ito, ano po, mga ano pala to, mga restricted yung mga...
Hindi na po lasan.
Alexan. Alexan kit.
O ito yung Alexan, maraming ano dito, actual shop. Pwedeng puntahan dito sa Manila area. Pag dito product list.
Alexan kit.
Meron dito ilang sensor pero mas marami dito mga IC, mga logic gate, so on.
Yung cute natin. Ano ba mali kang cute?
Dito lang gamitin natin.
Uy! Yung... Ay,
Kung meron ka punta na, i-kiss mo.
ay ibang gizmic. Pang-review.
So meron dito kung ilang mga components so pwede ko magamit for
Sensor.
experiment and project.
Uy!
Baka mamaya, hindi yan na nabigyan ng...
Pwede pala bumili dyan ng
Yung
function
Alexa,
dyan.
alam ko meron yun sa SM Mega Mall.
Live.
Meron din sa... Before, meron sa may Raon. Alam niyo Raon?
Yeah.
Malapit sa Quiapo Church.
Ah.
Kung doon kayo pupunta, medyo mag-ingat lang kayo doon. Mga butas na yung bag niyo pag uwi.
Sa shop.
Itong igis mo, ang alam kong shop nito ay tabi ng DLS UTAF before. Ewan ko kung nandun na ngayon.
Meron sa shop yung next club.
Pero yan, marami namang nabibilang online. But if you want to check in actual, pwede kayo pumunta dito sa mga actual shops na to to really test. Tsaka mayroon kasi kung bumili. Tapos sira, di ba? Hindi nyo mapagana. Okay? So yung asakin ko sa experiment, gawan nyo na concept yung napiling area, identify yung sensor and actuator, tingnan online, magkano, anong advantage, anong disadvantage, anong brand, and then, buuin yung concept, buuin yung report, okay? Yung report is for submission until Friday. Okay? Kaya ano gagawin ko sa inyong default sensor? Sa ngayon, kailangan nyo i-conceptualize kung paano siya gagamitin sa inyong area designated. Pero kailangan nyo illustrate ka na working by simple na kagaya na pinakita last time, lalagyan lang ng voltage source, at output display, pwedeng sound, buzzer, LED, resistor circuit. Next week yun. Okay? I will allot like 5 minutes per group to demonstrate kung paano gumagana ang mga nabili yung sensor. Okay?
Basta po dapat is aligned sa area po.
Yes. So, kahit i-breadboard nyo na lang yan, di ba? Breadboard and apply supply, mahirap kayo nagamit dito sa lab. Yung ibang mga gamit, kung meron sila, like buzzer, resistor, LED, pwede nyo rin
Hindi,
gamit.
ilang
Okay?
volts ba yung Alexa? 10 lang ata.
So, yung inyong sensor ay analog.
Ay.
Mas maganda kung malagay nyo ng analog output example. Example, kung malayo ay red color, kung malapit ay yellow or green color. Kung high pH, red color, kung low pH, yellow color, and so on. Kung ano mga idea kung pwede nyo mahirap dito sa lab. Okay?
Okay po.
So, yun yung inyong assignment for the remaining activity. So, kailangan nyo lang dito ay kumpletuhin yung inyong experiment work with your own group for the remaining time. Okay? Sige, go to your own group para masimulan na yung inyong activity.
Okay lang, palang hindi ko dala.
Halin. Ano yun?
Kasi hindi
Wala
pa
palang
naman
gagawin
mag-
niya yun. Buhat na lang. Buti na lang.
So, yung mga kailangan pumunta sa ibang designated area gaya sa kantin.
Buti na lang lab tayo. Hindi na kailangan lumayo. Hindi namin kailangan lumayo. Gago, kinasal na sila.
Ano ba po? Kasi mga agad ko, may dala kang laptop. Pili ka. Kumuha tayo.
Balon.
Kahit lang sa
Nakapublish din sa akin. LR4.
Ngayon lang.
Last week pa.
Hindi po visible sa end mo. Check ko lang po.
Okay. Yung ano lang module yung hindi nakapublish niya. Napublish ko na yung module 3 lang. Pero makikita nyo dapat yung sa tubo. So,
Okay na po.
kaya napublish ko na ngayon yung module 3 lang.
Oh, may nagawa na agad si Rogia. Grabe, Rogia, meron ka na agad nagawa.
Batak yan eh. Si Kuya, ano? Kuya Harold.
Bro, last semester ko yan, tapos na.
Okay. Yung love suite namin.
May nakabang na yan last semester.
Love suite namin dati. Kahit sa naman ko.
Aba, may iba yung ano, bukas yung tingin. Iba yung sense.
So before the guys, I will go around to each group at check kung ano mga sensor na nagpili ko.
Pero mga laptop mo. Ay, wala.
Application ako ng college sa alam.
Mga diseases. Oh, saan na kaya doon?
Maybe ako sa mga. Pero ba hindi ko
Yung canvas. Okay, pati nila. Ang pag-design ni control. Smart USB. Kasi bakit ba?
Yun naman to eh. Yung thesis ng mga upper class mo. Smart base natin. Stress ka, no?
Na ako? May lagaw mo yan.
Sabi ka na.
Pag-ibig na pagkakasa mo. Dalawa mo sa akin. O yung physical deposit ko lang ito. Ano ba yung lab na to? Line per
Yes, yung mga talaga yung baba. Next.
Ano yung naman yun? Tapos, tapos yung task natin sa yung 5.
May comparison ka na sa ano, pwede kami siya siguro pinakapahan na lang dito is motion to the temperature niya ka, diba? Kitchen. Basta makikita niyo
Pag automatic na siya, pwede ano ba? Yung laman. Depende kung full ay. Ay, automatic life is detect someone.
pag umalis, pag umalis tayo, hindi na kayo nakakagawin na sige na. Oo, pero okay na ako dun sa may tao. Ano tao?
Hindi ba rin business? Automatic writing na.
Motion activated like motion ang tawag sa kanya is motion activated.
So, kaya ano? Doorway detection.
Wala sa iyo ito. Hindi naman yung lock na ito.
Hindi.
Ayun, yung balak na sa TikTok.
Kapag sa ref, may sumaan, tutulog siya.
Parang yung TikTok, yung pwede yung dati nagpagano kung minatang tao. Hindi. Ako sa parang dalawa yung pieces na ay. Hindi, wait. Pag may
Yung mga pwede.
it's either automatic light or door detection. Padaling yung temperature. May tao. Gusto parang nangihingi ng mga bagay ko. Hindi ko masang sa magkasakit mo na kasi ka na. Identify the time sensors with time actuator. Yun for the design. At least 5 minutes.
Yung sa ultrasound kasi kailangan natin siya gawin action.
Pero ito sila na.
Kahit
Yeah.
Siya po lang I think individual submission na sa individual resolution sa LR4.
Parang nga.
Siguro pwede rin sa council.
Sige. Hindi mo na mag-contact yun.
Yung mga
Binibigay natin, di ba? Tapos ay, yung nagkaroon natin ng prototype, pero simple lang. Tapos sa formula lang na expert yun. Tapos dapat alam yun sa kasi yung pinay, kahit anong sensor, basta hindi nag-actually. Hintay ko ni assign sa'yo.
Kailangan din natin mabili yung mga
Hindi, namin yan.
Kaya ibigay sabihin, gagamitin natin ng sensor.
Wala for ano naman, theory ba? Virus. Siguro related din sa virus.
Ayan, we need to calculate. Parang nagamit na ako. Parang yung sa prototype na hindi po pwede. Nakalipas sa pambili. Ikaw na ba ano sa kanila? Laki kasi pwede yung subset. Siguro naman ang movement sa kanya. Ang business na. Hindi ka tapos nalaman yun. Malalaman ko. Ano yung malalaman sa susunod niya? Yung course na yun just sarili ko sa dito, di ba? Okay. So, so good na parang hindi kayo ano yung sensor
Yung ba't yan? Ganyan pa sa kung nagamit mo pa. Search mo ako.
bahay na namin.
Nagpipicture lang naman ang konti.
Ano ko ako doon? Ay, galing na naman. Dali. Ano Yung pero yung ano to?
Yung nadakam ko, okay, dito ko muna sa sensor. Parang maganda tayo, pinagalitan ko muna kay
PC last year, 18 to 24. Laki yung sensor sa loob ng PNR. So, brightness. Ano yun? Parang temperature sensor. Yung ano, remote sensor. Yun na yung remote sensor.
For actually,
Bakit harap ng 5 sensor at 5 actuator? Serious. Or na? Kasi dapat nag-iisip yung something yung ano. Wow, ano ba yun? Pero yung something mo na Kaman? Great. At least 5, at least 5. As you may think, iya, no sensor niya. Meron sa ulo yung tayo bigay na yung lang yan. So na yung mga bigay. Ilalapit sa kailangan mo sa maganda. Mas more address mga sensor kailangan mo sa temperature. HT I wasn't that much. As increases resistance ang mangyayari sa kanya, kapag sa lamig, sobrang taas ng resistance ng temperature. So, parang isang bumili ng ilaw. Pag mas umiinit, mas nadamang bumili ng ilaw. Parang makas na parang sila. Grabe yung argument ko kayo. Yung pang-holding ko na lang. Pero, mali sense of ito yung kailangan namin. Sino sa pag-gagawin nyo ba?
Naku, kasi yung bilang si code pa kayo.
Parang stage nito ito eh.
Tanong lang eh.
Paano sa akin? Sino ba nag-gagawin? Ito yung ESP.
Hindi daw sa lugar nila, pero ES pa sila.
Walang pala tao. Iba yung development work. Okay. May lalagay ko ng mga model. Of course. Alfred, ano kung what's okay sa lobby? Or okay? Pinagay ko lang sa amin sa kanila ay sound nun. Ikaw, nakaka-ID mo na din anak ka? Yung sensor mismo may pick-up pa kayo sa pantatang. Okay, yes. Pero wala for ang place picture lang na tayo. Picture lang. Sensor. There, picture. Ano kaya? Consumption lang siya. Laboratory. Kunyari, may picture lang lalagay ko. Tapos may HP by power sensor. Parang didikit yung picture. Saan yung didikit? Ang galing mo na daw, may reference sa akin. Kami diagram lang. Ang galing, sakto picture lang. Kaya parang imagine ako saan yung didikit na sensor. Parang ano ka pala tapos pinakasin mo lang sa gitna ng tapos mas malaki tayo parang hindi na lang yung system so ko lang sa messenger yes sorry ano pa ka pangalan ko aray mo ito ka pangalan mo Worst cover. Ayaw pala, boys. Panic. Ano nga? Hindi mo tayo sa akin. Sama sa hindi na nakakana ng flight. Kaya kami ka sa akin, ano tawag doon? DNSL ako. Back power na din. Power. Ulit ko lang power. Pag naka-altea. Sorry. Grabe naman. Grabe naman yun. Nagtanggal na kami. Kung minor subject ka doon. Uy, ilang beses kami nalagay. Hindi na nakukulit lagi. Sabi ko po na gano'n. Oh? Bakit ano sa programa kayo? Graduate na mga yan, boy. Graduate na. Ay, hindi example meron ka na? Mariah's sa fire sa picture sa so paano dito wait sa CR
Yan.
Sarado na.
may ganito sarado ang CR oo, Sabado
naman yun.
ang dito to ba't na kayo sarado yun? Oo, sarado yun pala sa
Kaya pa naman po yan. Nasa babo mo.
Dahil sa mga uri ko na lang ito.
Oh, mas mahirap yun sa
Ako kapag naman siya gawin. Pwede mong nasa atin na gusto mo. Pwede mong meron kami sa after this.
Oo, ano ba yan? Bakit hindi boy? Naiinis ako. Bakit hindi ang... Kakanan? Kaka? Wala kami walang kalusugan.
Grabe
Oh my God! Wait, ano?
Lakers pa rin, nakalawang TV. Ano yun? Nasaan?
Ginawa ko po.
Where? May kapatid. May kapatid.
Ginawa ko po.
Hindi yan.
Pero isang way. Isasend ko sa iyo. Parang pasok.
Anong iba't ibang klase ng temperature sensors or iba't ibang klase ng sensors?
Kaya ang akin naman, yan.
Wala po.
Ano ba? Hindi. Hindi ko siya
Ay, shit. Bigyan na kami ibigyan first. Ibigyan.
Oh, Pia, may mga pantera sa kanya.
Pwede mo? TCS 3200.
Ay, research ko na nga.
Ako, mga 3.
Pero nga ako na yung ginagamit.
Okay na.